In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Check. Welcome back to another Pointless Automotive Podcast. Chadwick and
Francisco
joining us.
Hola.
In the studio. Here at Car Park again in Pleasanton, California.
Yes.
Fantastic car storage events can be held
here.
here.
We gear, get used to it.
Gorgeous cars. I mean, what do we have?
Yeah.
A GT4 RS in the background today.
Well, you just fell in love with something that they had up in the shop,
Yeah,
if
just
you will.
looked at a Rezvani, which is pretty cool with the
tank
Demon engine in there. So Dodge Demon. So Hemi still got it. Last year the Hemi, right? No more Hemis after this year.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But wait, did I also hear they might have a turbo inline 6 coming up? I don't know. I think that might be a vicious rumor.
It's pretty interesting.
I'm in.
We'll never see.
2JZ, the 3JZ.
I'm sad about Hemi's going away, but that's another episode.
Yeah.
Today, so I had a good idea the other day. I don't know if it's good. We'll see.
The
execution's going to fall short of that. But I was thinking, man, there's lots of vehicles in movies, cinema, TV shows that kind of make the program. They're kind of appropriate. They're cool. And I thought, well, what about Bizarro World, where things just are the same but a little different?
Switcheroo.
Yeah, switch a different car in there and see what it actually does for the overall film or TV show.
Like, what would you pick?
Yeah, what would you pick? Why? And why would it make everything so weird?
Oh boy.
So yeah, man, and this is kind of a weird thing I came up with late last night.
A fever dream.
Just wake up with the meat sweats and
that's right.
Just rolling around in bed.
So do you want to just like? How do you want to? Do you already have this mapped out, or are you going to be like, hey, this movie, what would you replace it with?
Well, I'm just kind of curious. I actually just made a list myself of a bunch of movies and TV programs, and I talked about weird things. I'll start us off, man, to kind of set the pace here.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
The 80s TV show.
Yeah.
Grew up watching that. You had the General Lee, which was a 69 Charger, I believe.
68 or 69? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I never got into that show. Never really watched it.
No, yeah, they just jumped cool shit. It was a cool car. You know, Confederate flag wasn't as contentious as it was today.
Sure.
But here's the deal, man. We go back and we make it a 1971 Ford Pinto.
Little boys. Oh.
Ford Pinto with the same scheme, Confederate flag, bright orange. I don't know if it was Hemi orange. But
it would just explode every single episode?
That's exactly it. So now instead of being a rebellious muscle car, which I think the whole, like the Charger worked with that, right? These guys, you know, always getting over on the law, and Boss Hogg couldn't catch them if I'm right about that. But now we strip the Duke boys of that heritage, and we stick them behind possibly one of the worst built cars. The early Pintos had 100 horsepower, 4-cylinder engine, and if anybody looked at the rear end hard enough, it could explode.
And like pinch the door shut while doing so.
That's the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So here's instead of those sweet jumps where they go, how are these Duke boys going to get themselves out of this one? Except the Pinto would be flying, land on its rear bumper, and just freaking explode on impact.
Every episode is like, how are the Duke boys going to get out of this one? As her burning alive, struggling to pull at the door release to get out, and they just die every single episode.
Yeah, and they fall completely short of the jump because of 100 horsepower.
That's right. Yeah, it'll be like, oh my God, who killed Kenny? Sort of, but like in Dukes of Hazzard style.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm switching the General Lee out to a Ford Pinto, my friend.
Ooh,
Bizarro.
I'm trying to think, like, what would I? If I got to replace that, what would it... You know what would be interesting is to do, like, the 76, 77 Toyota Celica, the liftback, the Mustang-looking ones.
Oh, yeah.
But in the full garb.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, being a Toyota
cool.
would be extra weird on a show like that.
Yeah, no, that's only, like, that car's only like 100 horsepower, too. It's not that much different.
A little more reliable. A little
far more reliable.
Flamey.
Yeah, although I think if I remember those early Celicas, the back seat, like the back rest of the was directly on the fuel tank. So like the fuel tank was between like where the trunk pass through would be. Is the fuel tank is right there? Oh yeah,
fun
flambe. You know what's interesting? So I was just thinking about this the other day. Is okay. First off, are you a Billy Madison guy or are you a Happy Gilmore guy?
Ooh.
Where do you go?
A little more Happy Gilmore, maybe.
Me too.
Yeah.
I tend to. Do you remember Happy's car in that movie? It's another Mopar product.
Is it?
It's a 1974 Plymouth Duster.
Gotcha.
Where he's cruising around and he hits the Mista lady.
That's right.
You know the Mista lady? I think I just killed her. So in that movie, replacing the 74 Duster.
Okay.
I thought it would be interesting if he drove a Volkswagen Thing. What if Happy drove a Volkswagen Thing? The Duster fit, but it'd be interesting. Like he throws all his like hockey gear in the back, and then he gets into the batting cage and just continues to take fastballs to the ribs. And yeah, Happy Gilmore. Now in that movie, it wasn't featured super prominently, but maybe if it was a Volkswagen Thing, it would be. It would
definitely stand out more. What was the Thing's horsepower though?
Oh, I mean, it was like a 1600 dual port, like at its most,
70,
at its strongest.
70 horsepower.
No, maybe 60, maybe. Yeah, it was underpowered.
Cool, way more memorable though, right?
Yeah, I remember the Duster, but you didn't.
I like the Duster.
But if it was a Thing, you'd be like, oh yeah, he had a Thing.
Yeah,
like,
that would
remember the Thing.
Has the Thing ever been in a movie or TV show?
Oh, it has. That would
not
be
as the
absolute
icon car. Maybe
it should be though.
The background.
I mean, there would be. What would it be good? What would a good movie? I don't know. It could go on a lot of things.
Swamp Thing in the background.
It. I don't know. Yeah. So that's what other movie cars you got?
How about National Lampoon's Vacation?
Oh, the family truckster.
Yeah. So instead of the the Griswold family gets rid of that, they have a Tesla.
Oh, is this like if they do like a modern reboot of the show?
Yeah, so they have to stop 1,000,000 times to recharge, right? On their cross-country.
Supercharge.
Yeah, and half the movie isn't about the family's interaction and weird shit that goes on the road trip.
Sure.
It's about range anxiety and trying to find a charging station.
Oh. That would be interesting. So I thought, it's funny because I have something similar to that for my next one. I kind of went that same thing. So first off, that would be interesting.
Yes.
And I can see... It would actually be a really interesting like plot device, right? Where like they have to stop at all these places, and like as they stop to like recharge, like the son wanders off and like tries to like hook up with some girl, and then like the daughter accidentally like I don't know lights the gas station on fire, like something happened, like and then they have to flee and like we're only 80% charge. Oh no, we can't make it to this place now. We can't make it to Wally World.
Well, they went off the grid. Like, they went through some like really rural settings too, right? In the movie, so it'd be kind of fun to watch that. And like, Clark, I thought you charged it.
Like this piece of shit. He's kicking the hell out of it. It's supposed to drive itself here,
it'll take us 6 months to get that panel replaced.
Full self-driving my ass. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Sorry, I'd take a slight at the.
Well, I thought
car.
Kind of keeping with the electric car puns and problems. I got similar. So you said you watched a lot of, as a kid. You watched Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
I did not.
Standard.
You know what I watched a lot as a child, a young lad, was remember the show
Hardcore porn,
hardcore animal porn, and
good man.
Chips.
Oh yeah,
remember Chips?
Yeah, I do remember Chips also.
Man. Do you remember Ponch's car? Remember Ponch from Chips?
I remember the motorcycles, but
he had a personal car, and he did a lot with it. It was pretty frequently. It was a bright gold, like 71 or 72 Firebird.
I was gonna say it has to be a Trans Am Firebird. Yeah.
I think it was like a 350, like a Formula 350.
Okay.
And it was bright, like gold bar gold.
Oh yeah.
With the bird on the hood and the whole thing. And I remember several episodes where, like, he crashed it very significantly. And I also feel like I remember multiple episodes where it caught on fire. And so I thought, what if he had it replaced with the Tesla Model S? And so he'll crash it, but then it bursts into the flames, and then nobody can put it out because it's like a lithium battery fire, and it just burns for like a week straight or whatever. And then but in the show he rebuilt his a lot. Like I remember there were like scenes where he's like building it, and like I think they were painting it at one point. And,
I feel like that's a Firebird thing. I think a lot of them got rebuilt back in the day.
A lot of them caught fire. Yeah.
Titles got rebuilt.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it's washed. He works for the CHP. And he can fake his own like safety checks and stuff like that.
He just puts like a $20 bill on the counter. Look the other way, bud. Good show. Here's a good one for you, man. You're gonna like this one. Wayne's World.
Oh,
the Mirthmobile.
Yeah.
So we have a AMC Pacer in the original with the flames painted on that kind of baby,
the baby blue,
powder blue or whatever it was. So we're gonna give him an AMC AMX in this Bizarro world. So
like an OG AMX or one of like the late 70s ones where it was like an AMC Hornet AMX.
So like the real power muscle generation.
Sure.
So we actually just talked about this car when we did our satire of the Haggerty Bull List.
Yes, the bullshit list
situation. So here's the deal: like the Mirthmobile was hilarious because the Pacer was a very slow car, even for its time.
Yeah.
Kind of a laughing thing, weird looking car, but instead now Garth, who's this like weird, quiet character, is driving probably one of the most loudest muscle cars of the time. Keep it AMC though, but I just thought that'd be super cool to have like this badass performance machine, and Garth is so chill. And no one ever mentions the car throughout the movie. It's just like this badass thing.
Yeah,
it's just like nonchalantly.
Super aggro and like totally flies in the face of like
yes.
the rest of the movie.
I just think that kind of like a stark contrast to like Garth's character, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch out the Pacer for the AMX.
Boy, what would I switch out the Pacer?
I mean, the Pacer is hilarious, but you know, in this world we want to mess things up. So I think a real muscle car.
Like, what would the modern equivalent of the Pacer be? Like a Nissan Cube?
Boy,
like if you remade this movie
Kicks?
10 years ago,
Nissan Kicks,
yeah, a Juke.
Oh, Juke R.
A Juke R. There. See, that's the car to have.
That's the thing.
If I can find my way to a Juke R.
Yeah, it's the new Mirthmobile AMX.
So I'm going to mention a movie. It's an American classic. By the way, I tried to pick some off the wall stuff.
Yeah.
Because I figured maybe you'd come with some of the more traditional stuff. Where's your LeBaron, Freddie? Huh? Where's your LeBaron?
Daddy,
I only see one LeBaron. I don't see two LeBarons. Why did I get a LeBaron? Where's your LeBaron, Freddie?
They fingered me.
Freddie got fingered. The American classic. Well, actually, is it a Canadian classic? Because isn't Tom Green Canadian?
I think he signed over his rights.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Tom Green's Freddie Got Fingered, of course, with the it was like a light bluish, I want to say, like '87 Chrysler LeBaron convertible.
Not a Woody, but yeah.
Not a Woody. And he drove it around, and then he like climbed inside like a deer carcass and got hit by a truck.
I was gonna say that's one of my favorite parts.
That's probably the funniest part of the movie. And then he like loosely like beats off some sort of livestock. I don't remember if it was like a donkey or
which version did you watch?
But he just cruised. You don't remember? I think I saw that in the theaters. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure I saw Freddie Got Fingered in the theaters.
I remember him beating his girlfriend because she's a paraplegic, I believe, in that movie. Oh, so he's like hitting her in the legs, and she like acts like it hurts and just joking around, and then she hits him.
Oh boy! But how much? Like I was thinking the same thing. Like, what if secretly Tom Green, this absolute goofball in this movie, is just cruising around in some like genuine badass
what would you
muscle
pick
car
then, instead of a LeBaron? Like, what would make that would just not make sense in that movie for Tom Green to be driving?
A Di Tommaso Pantera.
Perfect.
If he was cruising around in a bright red, immaculate Pantera.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Where's your Pantera, stupid. Freddie? Huh? Where's your Pantera? And he's just doing huge smoky burnouts, and then he's just like giggling while he's like fondling on some sort of animal.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it would change. I think it would change the movie up a little bit.
That's a good one, man. That's a real good one.
I don't know if it's good, but it's something.
No, I actually think that movie's hilarious. It's been a while though. So I went Breaking Bad because I'm starting that on I'm starting my third watch through.
True story. I've never seen a single second of Breaking Bad.
My younger brother tells of the population.
My younger brother tells me it is far he believes it's the single greatest show cover to cover in the history of television.
Yeah, it depends if you're grouping in miniseries. I think Band of Brothers was a better miniseries, but
fair.
As far as like a TV, like a syndicated TV show,
right?
It's up there, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Well, this might not make as much sense. I'm sure you know of it because it was so much of a pop culture icon.
Mm-hmm.
So Walter White, the main character, the protagonist / antagonist of the story, he drives a Pontiac Aztek.
Oh, okay.
Which single-handedly is like one of the saving graces for that vehicle.
I saw a super clean white one yesterday. Like the later ones where it's like all the cladding.
Did you check for the tent?
I did not strip search it for the tent. But it was the later style, so it didn't have any of the gray cladding. It was all the paint to match white cladding.
Doesn't have the crazy colored seats either. Like the early ones had that camouflage pattern on the seats, which was so cool. But anyway, he drives that. So I don't know if you know. This is more like I need to encourage you to watch this.
Sure.
Tons of vehicle symbolism, and the producers of the show, the designers of the show,
really
talked about how they match the vehicles to characters.
Okay.
So another reason for you to watch it, and I think that's always been so good. You'll see so many cool vehicles in there. You do have, I think there's an MR2 in there, El Camino. You've got the Aztek, the Jeep Wagoneer. But you got all that kind of cool stuff. But on top of that, it matched him because it was like this failed, like, it sucked. The Aztecs failed to launch. It was horrible. The company failed ultimately. Kind of like Walter White's character before he pulled a Heisenberg. So many dreams just wasted away.
Spoilers.
So yeah,
give out the spoilers. I haven't seen it.
It's a spoiler to you and like some weird guy that lives in a cabin in Montana. But so
what's his face?
You know him? The anti-Breaking Bad committee.
Jim.
We're holding out on that one, boys. So here's the deal, man. He in this one, he drives a '99 Toyota Camry in Bizarro World, and the reason, like, yeah, it's an old car, and maybe he's not that wealthy, but it's like nothing of note. It's not a sad vehicle, extremely reliable.
So he was a teacher initially in the show, right?
Yeah,
it's a teacher's car.
It is, but he was, you know, I don't want to give it to him. Now I feel bad about spoilers on a fucking show that everybody watched. But he gets like sick and all this stuff, and kind of like the, you know, Pontiac got sick and died. So just, I think this car doesn't make sense because it conflicts with it because it's such a reliable, tried and true. You still see how many that generation Camry are still on the road with like 300,000+ miles.
Well, that car wouldn't get sick and die.
No, it would just keep going. So it doesn't match. It doesn't match his character. So Bizarro World, I swapped that Aztec out with a Camry.
Oh boy.
And it makes no sense.
Interesting.
But that's why I would do it. But you need to watch that movie, my friend.
The Aztec got sick and died. Same with Pontiac got sick. The overall collection of the Aztec people when they got various diseases brought over by Spanish conquistadors.
Smallpox blankets.
That's right. That's right. Interesting.
A little heartfelt there.
I suppose I should maybe watch that now.
You got to watch it, dude. There's so much cool.
Sit down and watch
like
them.
just for the cars, right?
Yeah.
But also the movies or the show's amazing. There's a movie too.
Can we get mildly quizzical? And by that I mean I have one. I want to see what you cook up and answer. I'm going to pose.
Okay, let's see. What do you got?
I'm assuming you are indeed familiar with Initial D, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Now let's pretend that Initial D actually takes place in the Ozarks.
Okay.
In 1988.
Okay.
Instead of the AE-86, which was like the Togay, mountain drift, overdrift into the D dimension.
Yeah, when you need
Japanese
to deliver tofu.
Car. Yeah. Right. What would the Ozark delivery pizza boy American edition be at the time to replace the AE-86? What would it be?
Easy.
You got it? It's a layup, huh?
Already got it, man. Camaro Z28.
Interesting.
It's got to be a Camaro. Got rear-wheel drive. And you're not like drifting as much as you're laying like fat burnouts.
Yeah.
T-tops. Yeah, man. Z28 Camaro.
Yeah.
Some handling chops in there too.
Like one fender's like primer.
Oh, it's all
gray.
patinaed, right?
Yeah.
It's all fucked up.
Oh boy. See, I was thinking kind of the same thing, except I was going Mercury Capri, like the 5.0 Mustang, the Fox body Mercury Capri
with the cool bubble glass in the rear. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Bubble. Yeah.
That's a damn good one. Shit.
Okay. You got any other
I do, my friend.
Oh, keep the hits coming.
So Transformers.
More than meets the eye.
Came back, right? So when we were a kid, Bumblebee
Robots in disguise.
Bumblebee was an early Beetle. It was actual real rear engine
Bumblebee
Beetle, right?
Bumblebee
what did they do? They turned him into a Camaro.
Yeah.
And that's not a joke. That actually happened in the movies. So I don't know how they made that jump. I think it was the GM. GM.
Yeah, whoever ponied up the most money.
GM.
Yeah. Yep.
So what we're gonna do in this Bizarro World is he never became a Camaro. He became a new Beetle. How weird is that?
Turbo RS.
Not even a turbo one. I put in my notes. I wrote asterisks because you were going to say that. Not even a turbo one.
Would it also be yellow but with the flower wheels because he is a Bumblebee?
Yes, it would be
so
yellow.
You get the flower wheels.
The crappy plastic interior. What was it? The 2-liter 115 horsepower.
The 2-point slow. Yeah.
Do it all Volkswagen engine. That would be Bumblebee in the remake. Not a cool like V8 new age Camaro. He was going to be a new Beetle.
Interesting.
How much does that change things? I feel like that just totally.
Yeah. Oh no.
Because I think those new Beetles are cool now.
I mean,
but then not cool.
But let's face it.
Not cool.
If the robots are really trying to like truly be in disguise, you would want to be the new Beetle.
Parked like nobody suspects. House.
Yeah, nobody suspects the new Beetle as actually being like this like incredibly powerful alien robot.
They still drive like the cars they're imitating, though. So you wouldn't have like 400 horsepower rear-wheel drive V8 muscle. You'd have 115 horsepower front-wheel drive
Yeah,
Kind of
unassuming.
box.
Okay, unassuming.
Well, there's supposed to be more than meets the eyes.
That's right.
I guess you're right.
Right.
But I just think
Robot
that's
in
funny if we would have
disguise.
kept the Beetle thematic going on that one. I
That
thought
would have
that
been
was
good.
Yeah.
That would have been good. You know what I'm doing? So they just re-released. I don't know if you saw this on Nintendo Switch. They just re-released maybe my favorite video game on Nintendo 64.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
No, it's not. It is not.
You
It's
like
not-
that game, though?
It is. It's a disastrously.
GoldenEye.
Yes, sir. And I always thought it was weird that 007 suddenly like went to the dark side and started driving German cars because he drove the Z3
Yeah, and that cool
in
blue
that movie.
though. Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that light metallic blue with the tan interior and the
interior,
tan
yeah,
top. And a cool car. We've discussed the Z3 on this podcast
1.9
before.
though,
Good.
'cause it was a launch one,
1.9, 4-cylinder,
96, yeah.
96. It was the launch car and the launch color, and it was launched in GoldenEye.
It was.
I was like, well, he should be. This is James Bond.
Yeah,
He needs to be driving a British car.
but you're not going Aston Martin here, are you?
I have to go Aston Martin.
Oh,
You gotta
okay.
go DB7.
With a Manny?
In '96, yeah, it would have been the supercharged inline six, which I think was '96 or '97. I actually don't remember what the first year of that DB7 was. It was one of those. But he should be driving a British Racing Green DB7 with a manual.
It's too good. It's too
He
good.
wouldn't change his character at all. In fact, it would be more character appropriate. Like if that's what
Your
he had.
Bizarro world's more accurate than the
That's
movie.
what I'm trying to get at. Like, if think about it, if it was initially that's how it was the Aston Martin, or let's say even the Aston Martin has no money to pay for that sponsorship. So let's say it's I guess Ford owned Aston Martin at the time, so they had all the money in the world.
Pierce
So
Brosnan.
Aston Martin comes out, yeah, Pierce Brosnan is cruising around in a British Racing Green DB7. And then somebody was like, oh, and like we were having this conversation, and I said, you know what, they should have made it the Z3. Like I'd be getting booed,
Yeah,
pilloried.
that's
Like
a
it doesn't
good
make
point.
like the Aston Martin
Yours
is
makes
the car.
way more sense.
The Aston Martin, the cars he's supposed to have. That's
He's
what
not
he was supposed to
Bizarro. He's playing it straight.
yeah, that needs. I'm writing a wrong here.
The
okay?
Bizarro really happened, I guess. Yeah,
I hope so. That's
That's
how it
great.
should have been.
I like
Damn it.
that.
You got any other things over there?
Back to the Future.
Boy, this is like the one, right?
Yeah, Doc Brown doesn't do 88 in a DeLorean, but rather in a Pontiac Fiero.
Wasn't that actually? Was that a rumor? It was
don't know.
originally going to be something. I know it wasn't always going to be the DeLorean
Right.
initially. Maybe it was going to be a Fiero, and then they're like, no, that's dumb. We got to use this.
I mean, I can
DeLorean
see
cocaine
why.
money.
Interesting looking car, mid-engine.
Yep.
Nothing domestic like that at the time. What was the last interesting engine layout? Like the Corvair with the rear engine,
Pretty much,
right?
Yeah.
C8 obviously since. Even then, yeah, we haven't done that a lot. But interesting looking car. But oh my God, the early Fieros.
The 2M4.
Meant to be a fuel economy car first, right? In the design,
Yes.
the whole thing they pushed, that whole program was to get a fuel economy minded car, not a performance car. Even though
Right.
it looked like kind of like a performance car, and boy, they didn't look good at the beginning. They got better looking. I think
They
they
did.
got a lot better looking with the later GTs, especially. But wasn't perceived as sporty.
Right.
And though the DeLorean, you'd be hard pressed to call like a real performance car.
No.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't ever like
Terrible chassis.
Yeah, it wasn't ever meant to be a
Terrible
fuel economy car. The all aluminum body was kind of cool and like different, right?
Yeah,
Like
well, it's like a space frame, right? It's like a space frame with like stainless
steel
panels.
on the whole. Yeah, shiny, looked like the future.
So
Worked,
shiny.
right?
Yeah.
But God, dude, those early Fieros.
That could've been
Talk
dope.
about fire
The
hazards.
Iron Duke,
Talk
yeah.
about like all the other issues with those. I mean, they could have made it happen because it was a pretty weird looking car, but
Yeah, like
performance-wise,
Chevette parts.
and I put the getting to 88. They would have had to lower the speed to 55 to make it believable.
46 miles an hour.
Jeez. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Swap out the DeLorean with an early Fiero.
That would have been interesting. Like, yeah, 85 Fiero.
Ruin it. Just ruin it.
Ruined. I would. Okay, so the DeLorean is arguably the most famous movie car of all time.
Yeah, it's up there, right?
You know what's probably right there with it? The Batmobile. So,
Oh, I have some notes on my phone. Yeah.
you've got some notes?
Yeah, you
Is
go
it
ahead.
Batmobile notes?
I do have Batmobile notes.
Did you have Batmobile too?
I really woke up at like 12 and wrote these on my phone like this.
Oh, Fever. I did that. I had this weird. Maybe we'll touch into it at another time. But I had a weird like fever dream I woke up on where I like invented this new piece of like automotive technology, and I jotted half asleep, jotted it down in my phone, and I still have it in there. This was from like a couple of weeks ago.
Well, don't tell your trade secrets with all.
I just what I'm saying. I gotta like patent this ish first. But so if I was going to make a brand new Batman movie, brand new one, 2023,
okay,
and I had to choose a real vehicle to be the Batmobile.
Is it the Rezvani?
It's not the Rezvani, but the Rezvani.
It would work.
It's close though.
Rezvani tank.
I'm going Dart's Prom Brawn.
Yeah,
which is the whale penis leather clad interior, Russian multi-million-dollar bejeweled, bomb-proof.
Like your jeans.
It's basically like a Rezvani, but with like triple the budget, and it comes with like a bottle of vodka and like a bodyguard and all this absolutely insane like dictator shit.
You would.
That's what I'm doing. I'm replacing. What would you do? Would you do the Rezvani?
I think the Rezvani would work, right?
Yeah.
Like a tank with the demon engine in it. Just like I drooled over out there a minute ago.
But you have Batmobile notes, I hear.
Mercury Marauder.
Like the Panther platform?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Mercury Marauder.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That's low key Batman, right?
That would be. That's how
you do it, dude.
You know what would be interesting is to do one where like some meth head thinks he's Batman, and then like he lives in like a trailer park, and that's what he drives. He drives like a mildly clapped.
There's got to be at least 3 of those.
Like in existence.
Yeah, meth head Batman.
Yeah, but then it turns out he actually does like you go like M. Night Shyamalan plot twist, and he ends up like
what a twist.
Exactly.
Like from Robot Chicken.
he ends up like saving somebody's life or something, and like when he's in like this like meth head super, and then he truly becomes Batman, and he's like a celebrated member of the society.
But the whole time we found out he OD'd at the beginning, and it was just
afterlife. It was all playing out in his head as he was getting like chest compressions and like under a bridge somewhere.
Scene.
Yeah.
So
in the back of his Marauder, maybe.
I did have another one here. Fast and the Furious. Brian's Eclipse.
Okay.
Being a Geo Metro. Keep the same paint scheme and decals. Full NOS. Except danger to the manifold. It says danger to the 3-cylinder manifold. Because you got to be careful.
Danger to 1/3 of the cylinder.
And you remember the scene in the movie when that happens, and it's like all the other cars are just flying, and he blew his NOS too early, so he loses the race.
That's right.
In this case, in the Geo Metro,
was he granny shifting? Was he double clutching?
Yeah, it wasn't like he should double clutch.
Yeah.
But except, man, he finishes a good 3 minutes behind everybody else because he's in a Geo Metro.
But boy, does he have a lot of fuel left.
Oh my God, barely sipped any.
That's it. That's just dipping the toes in the pool. I got one last one too, Dan.
What do you got? What do you got?
And I'll do the question game again because this is fun.
Oh.
Kill Bill.
Oh, the Pussy Wagon.
The Pussy Wagon. So it was a GMT 400 Silverado. I want to say it was an extended cab because I remember it had like those quarter glass windows that had like the plastic louvers over it.
That's right.
It was yellow and red paint scheme with a spoiler on the back.
Just like McDonald's, yeah.
Yep. And then it had Pussy Wagon and airbrushed on the tailgate.
Yep.
If you were to replace the Pussy Wagon with the Dick Wagon, what would your Dick Wagon be? Not your Dick Wagon, but what would your Dick Wagon be?
Dick Wagon and the Dick Wagon.
Yeah, you had to replace it with the Dick Wagon.
Boy, I want to say it's maybe a Buick Roadmaster with the wood paneling because wood.
You could. That would work. See, I think a base C5 Corvette.
Okay.
With a ridiculous paint scheme, and then Dick Wagon is like the custom license plate.
Or you would have picked the lifted Brodozer with truck nuts.
Could have been, yeah.
That probably fits too. That's too close. Like,
yeah, basically the same. Another GMT 400, but just absolutely skyjacked instead of lowered.
Fair enough.
There you go. So.
That's right. I do have a couple honorable mentions.
Oh yeah, fire the honorable
mentions. I just kind of want to rapid fire through real quick. Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
A couple iconic vehicles, right?
Oh yeah.
You had the early. That was first gen. Am I right? First gen Ford Explorer.
Ford Explorer, yes.
First gen, right? But the
and then
were custom.
And then in the second one, it was the first gen ML.
That's right. And they made that look really weird though. Mm-hmm. For the Ford Explorer, they just made the plexiglass roof, right?
And the dope paint scheme, of course.
So, and the Jeeps, of course, are pretty iconic.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, you know the scene when they're running from the T-Rex in the
Yes.
Jeep?
Yes. And Malcolm is like in the back, all like gimpy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He runs in with the lawyer gets eaten. Remember that part?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so they're hauling away from the T-Rex, except in this one they have Bronco 2s.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So the Bronco 2 would roll over, just trying to run from the T-Rex. Wouldn't need a T-Rex to push it over.
You know what I would
It's a joke
select?
about
You know,
rollover risk. Right?
well, you know what vehicle I would have for that?
What's that?
A T-Rex. A Ram.
They wouldn't have to run,
Ram
right?
T-Rex.
They could just fight each other.
Yeah. Or a Raptor, yeah.
Or a raptor.
A raptor or T-Rex.
You need 2 raptors to take down the T-Rex.
That's true. I've seen that.
Ghostbusters. I put CTS-V wagon or
Yeah.
V70R. Volkswagen or not Volkswagen, Volvo.
You want to go like
V70R.
E55 wag? Or E63 wagon?
A little too fancy, Feast. I think they need to have
Yeah.
something a little interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think CTSV wagon would be
be a cool
appropriate.
fit.
Yeah.
What a sweet ass Ghostbusting
White.
rig right there. Yeah, just lay it down.
Bustin' makes me feel good. I've always said that.
I think a lot of people have busted in the back of a CTS-V wagon,
Somebody. Yeah.
especially a manual.
A Manuel. Roll your own.
That's all I got, baby.
That's all you got?
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun to kind of mix
Fun
this
little,
up. Bizarro
fun
world.
little exercise.
Yeah, pointless exercise.
Yeah, we were, I don't know if we thrive at it, but we try.
We do. We
We
do
do.
something with it.
Speaking of things that we do,
Oh.
it's you time to get quizzed.
Quiz game? Let me introduce it to the
Intro
masses.
while I whip something up real quick.
So we play this little automotive print ad quiz game where we go through a publication from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. We quiz each other by reading the ad, omitting the obvious stuff. The other person has 3 guesses to guess the vehicle. They can ask for help if they get stumped along the way or miss a guess. 10 minutes are on the clock. And that's really it. And we just call it the automotive print ad quiz game. We keep joking about the name, but I think it's just going to stick at this point.
Yeah,
for
we're open to suggestions, but
Yeah.
until then,
Let's do it, man. I'm
Okay.
ready. I
You're
don't
ready?
know what
I'm ready.
you're coming at me with, so I'm sure it's something tough this week.
it
I'll get
is
10
technically
minutes.
there's 10 minutes. I'm just going to look at this thing here
Okay.
for our
That works
10-minute
too.
timer because I have hopes, my friend. So, in today's print ad, it is the top 1/3 is the vehicle,
Okay.
red.
Mm,
It's our very favoritist pose, which is that front
that's good.
quarter pose, wheel turned.
Tried
Get to
true.
see the headlights and such. Bottom half, or bottom 2/3, is text.
Okay.
There's not a ton of text here, but there's enough I think you can chew on this.
All right. Chew on it.
It says blank, a sophisticated toast to your hot rod heart. Here's to everyone who knows firsthand what automotive adrenaline is all about. Start with a turbo intercooled 3.1 liter V6 featuring performance components, close tolerance assembly, close tolerance assembly, and 205 horsepower with an asterisk.
Uh-oh.
There's also a specific 4-speed automatic transmission with special converter and shift calibration. The suspension has hefty stabilizer bars and 4-wheel anti-lock brake system. Performance-specific wheel well flares house Z-rated Gatorback tires and special alloy cross-lace wheels. There's a specific fascia and aero skirting, even functional hood louvers that enhance engine compartment cooling. Inside, there are analog gauges and a heads-up instrument display that projects speed and other vital functions onto the windshield. It's fighter plane technology. And just the right stuff for blank.
Boy.
That's it. The floor is yours, my friend.
This is challenging, my friend.
There's some good information packed into that.
So this seems like a very specific vehicle. This is one of those you either know it or you're
Right.
just like dead in the water. And
Right.
I'm thinking, God, this is tough. 3.1 liter turbo making how much power?
205 horsepower,
Okay. I can't.
featuring performance components.
I mean, I would laugh at that number, but I do have a 3.8 liter supercharger making that much in my Bonneville right now. So, I mean, did it say door count? Coupe?
It did
mention-
not say door count.
Okay.
It did say specific fascia and aero skirting, even functional hood louvers that enhance engine component cooling. One thing I didn't give you, but I suppose I'll give you, is
Gatorback tires.
what that asterisk was.
For the engine?
The 205 horsepower. Then there was an asterisk.
Oh.
Remember I said? The asterisk says turbo system manufactured by ASC Incorporated.
Okay. So they don't make it in-house. So something that doesn't use... I think I got this one, man. I think I got it. I think I had it at the beginning. It was a little tricky because it took me a while. 3.1, this might be the only 3.1 turbo ever made. Because I don't know any other car. So it's definitely American. I'm just going to say it. It's a cool car. It's a super cool car. Only came in automatic, unfortunately. This is.
But it said there was a special converter.
Oh, you can convert it. Yeah, you can calibrate it.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. This is a Pontiac Grand Prix Turbo. Final answer, Bob.
It's fighter plane technology, and just the right stuff for Turbo Grand Prix.
Yes.
Pontiac, we build excitement.
They sure do. Now this thing is so cool. This is the one with the steering wheel with 30 buttons on it, correct?
I don't remember because I know you can get that on a couple of different.
I'm 100% sure this.
I think you could also on like the Grand Ams.
At the time, yeah, but this one had like an entire where the horn would be just buttons. Yeah, it's good looking, man. Ugh. I was honestly blanking at first, and then
That's one of those because you're completely right.
It's the only car that came with that engine.
Yeah, it was the GM 3.1 liter, which is not a particularly good motor,
no.
and with an ASC, like of ASC McLaren fame of that same era.
Too. But GM put hood
turbo
louvers on everything: the Z24, the Z34, every variant. They put those hood louvers.
And how crazy is it? So it's the same ASC as like American Sunroof Company, right?
It is the same.
They're
Yeah.
just now we're making turbo kits, right?
Sure, why not?
Because I remember there was I had a neighbor growing up who had an ASC McLaren Mustang.
Those are cool.
Like a 5.0 Mustang
Yeah.
ASC McLaren edition.
They came in. Didn't they have orange on them or something like that?
This was like dark green with
Okay.
like gold accents.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
But yes, the turbo Grand Prix, and I think you're right. I can't think of another 3.1 liter turbocharged V6.
It just bopped back into my head. Like that's the only car with that engine.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably don't know that. That would have been a stumper for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it's either I have faith in your shitbox
my realm of
GM product knowledge.
my SME.
Yeah, or something like that.
American Turd Box performance versions.
Right, definitely.
That's a
Shitbox matter expert.
cool looking car.
Yeah.
Absolutely cool looking car. Only automatic. That kind of sucked because they were putting manuals. I think you could get the Beretta with a manual.
Didn't they do like a McLaren version of this or something like that?
The Z24. Did they?
I don't know.
Grand Prix? I think this is the spiciest Grand Prix.
But I thought they did like an even like a McLaren version of the turbo
maybe
Grand Prix. I don't know.
All I know is so in the early Grand Prix you could get a quad 4 in it. That's what
You
I'm talking about.
could.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Grand.
Yeah, 3.1 was
Prix.
GM's engine. I don't know why they never housed it.
McLaren turbo.
Yeah, did they?
Yeah.
Well, hey
There
now.
we go. ASC McLaren. So I wonder if it's the same thing. Maybe they just added extra McLaren goodies because it looks identical.
God, the body clad is
Anywho.
good. Yeah, so the 3800 eventually found its way into the Grand Prix.
Right.
They were really missing out by running that 31 instead of the 38,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And that's the Grand Prix.
Oh, GTP had the 3800 supercharged later in its life.
They did, and
That's
then
a good
then it
car.
turned into a V8, right? The GTP.
Yeah, they all got the North Star.
But it was like late run North Star, so it was like not a complete disaster.
I'd take it. Yeah, but they went from like the most reliable engine GM ever made to a North Star derivative.
Speaking of things that are broken, what have you been working on? You want to do some PCP real quick before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, buddy.
Before we double bag it?
Yeah, before we slam dunk on the Grand Prix Turbo, I felt good.
I
was
you
really
should've
drawing
felt
a
good.
brink, dude. I was like 3.1 turbo, like it's the only car in the world. Let's talk about power steering pumps and a 300ZX
Do we have
twin
to?
turbo.
Mom.
I brought it up last time that I had just started that job.
Yes.
From where I read, a lot of people said you could do it without pulling the radiator. So I tried to
Okay.
look at that. No way.
They were
no
wrong.
way you can do this. So you're pulling the radiator. This has a clutch fan, so you're pulling the fan. Basically pulling the whole clutch off of the water pump area. You have to get around the side because the power steering pump luckily is on the top, or unluckily is on the top, And this thing is a twin turbo, right? So you have intercooler, you have the J pipe, you have an air intake. You have to remove 3 pipes just on one side. Pull your power steering reservoir. I'm going to save you like 20 minutes. You have to remove half the engine, the front. It looks like I'm doing a timing belt job.
Right.
Right.
Just to get to the power steering pump.
Just to get a power steering pump out of there. And it has like 3 hardline connections and a couple hoses.
Sure.
This one was completely buggered. The reason I'm doing a power steering pump, by the way, is when I ran the car, inside the power steering pump, which is like about to seize and rip your belt in half, right? But dude, sourcing another one's been pretty hard. So
hasn't it?
I found a rebuilt one. You have to be careful because this has high cast, the 4-wheel steering,
right?
And apparently a lot of people have converted to non because it's problematic. But I want to keep it because it's part of the original function of the car. So I was able to source one that was rebuilt with the high cast. And about to slap that in, but boy, man. And of course, I'm weird. So I take everything out and I clean everything off.
While you're in there.
Yeah, but if you've had a power steering pump leaking, it's probably been leaking for like 5 years or more. You know what it does to everything below it. So everything's coated.
Good and slimy.
Yeah, cleaned everything off. But man, I'm not even joking. It took me hours just to get to the power steering pump. So, I mean, be aware. I mean,
cars are kind of notorious for just being trash to work on.
Yeah, the rumors are true, right? They're very well founded, grounded in reality. And now I'm going to get a new.
Grounded in reality.
I know it. Yeah. Let me tell you about it. But with these cars, you know, and that's just a ticking time bomb, right? You if your power steering pump starts making noise, replace it because whatever other accessory, usually an alternator's on the same accessory belt.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to have a very bad day when that belt gets seized and break.
It's no good.
So that's what I'm doing, man. That was some pretty tough, hard hitting PCP, my friend.
There we go.
Project Car Progress.
It usually is.
Clarifications. What about you, man? What have you been hitting?
Boy,
too much. Too much PCP.
So too much. So I've got the 924 Turbo in the garage.
Oh yeah.
Got it up in the air, slithered under it because of where they put the wastegate. I'm checking out the wastegate. It looks like it's been replaced or rebuilt at some point in the past. Cause
OEM?
I don't. It's the original. It's an original. Yeah.
It's a Volkswagen wastegate.
It's basically the same wastegate out of the 930.
Okay.
So it's huge, and it's like you have to like pull the starter to pull it out.
Oof.
But I'm looking at it, and it doesn't look that old.
Okay.
But I had a thought. So what happens is it pulls like there's like a hard vacuum line, or like a braided vacuum line that comes off of. It's not really a vacuum line. It's basically a pressure line that comes off of the charge pipe right before the throttle body and goes down the firewall to this wastegate.
Okay.
And so I want to pop it off on both ends and just make sure it's not like plugged up or there isn't something up with it, because I had that off and apart when I had the charge pipe out of it when I did the valve cover gasket, and I cleaned up the valve cover, and then I did the timing belt and water pump. So it sat open for a little bit. So
put a shop rag or two in there, did you?
I mean, it's just a little. It's just one little single line. So I don't know. Could something critter climb down there?
I don't think so.
I don't know. But that's where I want to start before I pull the whole thing, because I think there's also like a check valve that's in that, and if the check valve is stuck shut, that could be sticking the wastegate shut, because it's not getting the signal to. I don't know. So I'm going to play with that some more. It's all a headache.
Yeah.
I can get a replacement wastegate for like $500, $600 for an aftermarket one, which I don't want to do. Or I can rebuild this existing one for a few $100s. I don't want to pull it all out because I got to drop the exhaust. I got to pull the starter.
Oh boy.
Just to get the wastegate out. I'm like, ugh.
Were these really reliable? I can't remember that top 10 list where I think it was the least reliable.
Yeah, it's not. It's. I don't know.
It's living up to its
history. It's not. I've put very few miles on this car. I've turned it a little bit, and it's like kind of over it. But now I've got the NA edition,
which has proven itself already.
Yeah,
far superior as a car.
I've definitely driven it farther already than I have the turbo that I've had for several years. So that's where I'm at with the PCP.
Okay.
I'd love to be able to get it resolved enough where I can sell the car, because I'm in a perpetual state of too many cars, but I truly am now. And we'll see.
Yeah, those jobs are tough, man. Best of luck to you. Those can be head scratchers and just kind of the myriad of causes. But yeah, that's it. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Let's do it.
Thanks again, guys. Yeah, we're another Pointless Automotive podcast. You can follow us at APA Podcast on Instagram. We're
YouTube
trying to
as
get more
well?
stuff on there. Yeah, on our Instagram presence, we're trying to get there. We're trying to post some fun stuff. We are on YouTube if you want to watch the video versions of these.
We encourage it.
Wonderful podcasts.
Yeah.
But also continue listening on any kind of podcast service you use. Feel free to rate, review the show, tell your friends about it.
Be honest, okay?
Submit ideas for future episodes.
That's right.
To save us doing work at midnight.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a Q&A one day, for the 100th episode or something silly.
One question we just draw off.
We have one question, and it was from Chadwick. So, I can be found the Photographer's Garage on most of the things. How about you, sir?
Yeah, Auto Obsessive Garage, same thing, tubes and grams.
That's it.
As always, guys.
Thank you. I like my grams in tubes. Well, see you later.
And on that.
Bye.